When a business feels overwhelming, it's usually because the owner isn't tracking the right things. And if you don't know what to look at weekly, you can't make clear strategic decisions moving forward. Now, I've worked with many owners who feel busy but not in control. And here's what I see time and time again. They get overwhelmed, they have a new idea, what could be wrong, they throw things at the wall, they ask their team for a new metric, the team does it, they don't necessarily know why they're doing it, and then the cycle continues. How do I know this? Because I did it myself for years. And what changed? I learned how to become more strategic and stop reacting. Reaction keeps you in this same cyclical behavior, and here's one simple way to get out. Measure your KPIs weekly. I suggest 5 of them because weekly metrics give you the truth in real time of where you're at, but more importantly, where you are going. And not monthly, not quarterly, definitely not annually, but weekly. And also this is important, not from an accountant and not from a bookkeeper. It has to come from either you and or your leadership team. So let's make this practical. There are hundreds, if not thousands of metrics that you could track. Now let's take a pilot. Let's say they're looking at the dashboard on a plane. They can't look at everything simultaneously, right? It would be too overwhelming. So the pilot only looks at a few key metrics. For them, it might be fuel, altitude, speed, direction, attitude indication, which means positioning of the plane. Now, the secondary numbers are also important. These might be engine temperature, oil pressure, weather radar, navigation systems, communication frequencies, cabin pressure, the list goes on and on. But much like a pilot, even though these numbers are important, we need to focus on these key metrics in our business. Now, practically what this looks like, I have a scorecard or a KPI tracker. This lists up to 5 KPIs. If you're not sure where to start, I'll give you a list of common ones, but remember, every business is different, so they have to be specific to your business. The more advanced version is to meet with your leadership team weekly, focus on the current issues and bottlenecks, focus solely on and measure your key indicators for the next 90 days to reveal any patterns. Only after 90 days will you update accordingly, and if they are consistently above the goal, remove it. If they're consistently below the goal, fix it. And if it's moving up but you haven't hit your goal yet, keep it for another 90 days and continue to focus on this until you reach it. And again, only 5, because when you focus on everything, you're focused on nothing. Here's a practical real-life example of a real spreadsheet I've used for a company. Now, we went through this process of an actual sale from the time a client was looking on the internet, found them, and all the way to the end. And we came up with 5 metrics to focus on. Now, usually I do keep revenue because it is a very useful number. However, if you work on large projects, weekly revenue probably won't be the number you want to track. Maybe you could track and measure leads, maybe money deposited or quotes delivered. Now, profit, it is a nice number to track, but historically I found it's very difficult to figure that number out weekly because of monthly expenses. So in each of these measurements, you have to know the best metric to measure, whether that's using just a number, a currency, or a percentage. Then after that, the next column, this is going to be the goal for the next 90 days. If you have no idea where you're at, worry less about the goal and more about finding the pattern and making sure that number is going up. And if you're not sure what to track, start here. Write down your entire process, start to finish. I'll give you an example. So I'm working with a client. We wrote down everything from the very beginning. A client calls in, who is answering the phone, who is taking the order, who is fulfilling the order, who is delivering the order, and each step in between. Now, this may seem very basic, but I will tell you this is the most revealing, because if you find yourself saying, well, it's complicated, or you know it and understand it in your head, but you can't explain it, this is probably the biggest constraint of your business. Because if it's complicated, we need to simplify it. And if you can't explain it, it makes it difficult to hire, to train, to replace people, which is obviously very expensive. And these numbers become the backbone of the business. It lets you know where you're at, where you're going. It gives you space to take time off because you can check in to make sure that the numbers are growing still. It gives you leverage for difficult conversations because you can rely on these numbers, and it lets you make bigger decisions in the future. It reveals the truth instead of reacting emotionally. It makes things proactive rather than reactive. And yes, it might show the problems, but this is also where the opportunities are. Now, the numbers only tell a story to the behavior of what's happening in your business. So if you're too busy for this, that means you are not working high level enough. You're not high enough in the strategy. You are down working in the low level operations. But we need to learn how to leverage the people, become far more strategic and design your business to work for you rather than you working for your business. And I promise you, this shift comes, it will be so worth it, and there's so much freedom in it. So make sure you're leaning on these numbers to reveal the honest picture and create solutions. Because again, creating solution really is our job at the high level. This is our job as a leader. So remember, business is both art and science. Some things in business are proven and the rest is intuition.